like a Tonopah low, is headed north. Then it stopped. Then when I checked the satellite radar yesterday evening, the clouds were heading south, and it was raining. So that ridge has moved over towards Arizona. Very strange. We're real wet here. I'm assuming you are also. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's wet here. We had a we had a torrential downpour here yesterday afternoon for about, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, but then it backed off. But then later last night it started sprinkling, and it was sprinkling pretty much all night. Matter of fact, I think it's still sprinkling a little bit now. I was outside earlier and it was just barely coming down, but yeah, I got the same conditions over here. It's pretty wet. So anyway, Rich, you got a nice signal in here this morning, so good job on that. So let's see. I've got you in the 5 spot, Rich. You're number 5, KE6QK. Is there anyone else that would like to check in now and be number 6 for the Vintage Military Radio Net? Come now.
W6 Alpha, Quebec, the uniform.
Well, good morning, Bob. I heard you earlier, and I was on another receiver, and there was so much blather in there that I don't know if you came back or not, but I have you in the number 1 spot. So I got a little bit of QSB on you, but I got QSB on just about everybody, so but it's negligible. So I've got you in the 1 spot, Bob, W6AQU. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to check in? We're going to start the first round here in a minute or so, and we'll get the net started. Number 6 is open, so if you'd like to check in, come now. Okay, let's go ahead and get the net started, and I'll pick anybody else up here at the end of the first round, and we'll go from there. So good morning to all. This is a Vintage Military Radio Net. This is K0DWC, Chuck in Dayton, Nevada, and I'll be your net control this morning, and we'll be operating on 3.974 megacycles. Vintage Military Radio Net is a roundtable AM net that provides an opportunity for licensed hams to operate their vintage military radio gear on the air. Military gear is encouraged, but certainly not a requirement. Check-ins will be given a number. They can be used in the handout, and I'll call for check-ins at the end of each roundtable session. Excuse me. If anyone has anything for sale or a want, please mention it during your turn in the roundtable session. So, as I have it right now, the number 1 spot is Bob, W6AQU. The number 2 spot is Mike, W7MS. In the number 3 spot is Dave, W6MQI. In the 4 spot is Steve, W6SFP. And in the 5 spot is Rich, KE6QK. So number 6 is open. If you'd like to check in now for the first round, come now.
WA7YBS.
Hey, Henry. Good morning there, bud. I've got you in the 6th spot, Henry. WA7YBS in the number 6 spot. Does anyone out there like to be number 7 for the Vintage Military Radio Net? Please come now.
Bravo,
Oh, okay, there's Bill. N6BCT. Bill, I've got you in the number 7 spot, sir. They got a pretty good signal this morning. Is there anyone that would like to be number 8 for the Vintage Military Radio Net? Come now. Okay, nothing heard. So, let me just give a real quick rundown. Let's see. There we go. Okay, in the 1 spot, we got Bob, W6AQU. In the 2 spot, we've got Mike, W7MS. 3 spot is Dave, W6MQI. 4 spot is Steve, W6SSP. 5 spot is Rich, KE6QK. Number 6 spot is Henry, WA7YBS. And in the 7th spot is Bill, N6BCT. Okay. Well, good morning to all again, and I've got a little bit of QSB on everybody, but all you guys are coming in fine. It's just negligible at best. It's really no big deal right now. We're running the standard station, the ART-13, courtesy of W4DBQ, and listening on a 1962 contract R390A receiver. D104 microphone, and we're running approximately 200 watts. And I don't know how cold it is outside. Henry traditionally does the weather report. All I can tell you is it's wet. So anyway, everything going through an inverted V. So with that, we'll get started here, and we will go over to Northern Cal, to W6AQU, just shy of the Oregon border. Bob, it's all yours. Go ahead and take it. This is K0, DWC.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Chuck. It's a W6 Able Queen Uncle in Montague, running off a putt-putt this morning. We got up and after we turned the lights on, it was still dark. So we called our friendly power company, and there's an outage in this part of the country for a while. So we cranked up the putt-putt, and we're operating on an ART-13. But we start getting ready for the big shootout coming up at the end of the month, I guess. So there is a lot of QSB on the frequency, I'll tell you. Really windshield wiper time over here. Although it's not raining now, it had rained in the night. So I've heard just a few stations here so far. I've kind of handicapped the receivers in one location, the transmitters on another, and I'm having to go to another position, a triangle here, to turn the antennas back and forth. So I'm just having a lot of fun. I may have to switch radio rooms here. So over there's a Reno Mike, W7MS. And please critique my audio. This is W6 Able Queen Uncle.
Okay, well, thank you, Bob, and maybe a pause for the cause if he's got to do some manual dexterity there. But W6AQU and the Sunday morning military net here on 3974, Mike and Reno, W7MS. Good morning to all. Brief weather report, 3/100ths of an inch of precipitation since midnight. So not a gully washer, but it's the surviving weeds are going to really enjoy it. So this morning, running the Collins 618T aircraft transmitter receiver, running a pair of 4CX250 FGs, about 125 watts of carrier. 1967 Department of Defense contract, and for that contract run, this is serial number 1. Not that that means anything, but it is number 1. And I think, Chuck, I have run this before, but I think it was the last time a few months ago you had it confused with my other Collins transmitter receiver, and that was the Collins 18S4, which is not on this frequency. It's down in the AM window down below, the 18S4 Collins from the olden days of 10, 15 years ago. But I would concur with Bob. Quite a bit of QSB. Signal to noise ratio is deficient. Still hearing everybody, and hopefully they can hear me, because this probably was not the best choice for transmitter selection based on conditions. But and also my apologies to Bob on his call sign last week. We discussed air quality, and in the notes below his call sign I heard AQI, in other words air quality index, and I realized on the handoffs I was not saying Abel Queen Uncle. I was acknowledging air quality index. So my apologies to Bob, and sounded good on the R13 and on standby power. So over to Dave in Livermore. Let's see what you're running this morning. W6MQI, W7MS.
Alrighty. Make sure everything's working here. Lots of switches to click. Alright, W7MS, W6MQI. Yeah, I was going to mention something there to you last week about Bob's call, but that's about you. I'll let you run with it. Anyway, morning everybody. Yep, conditions, for lack of a word, suck today. Chuck, sometimes you completely fade away. And there are times you'll come up and you're almost full quieting. It's really strange. But again, this is Dave. I'm in Livermore, and we are running the TCK7, and I'm really roughing it on the receiver end. I'm using the RAL7 receiver, so I'm having to earn my keep this morning by twisting knobs and dials to keep everybody in check here on the receiver. But it's working. It's got some, as Tom would say, sidewinders off to the side, and I'm hearing the broadcast station too. But I'm sure things will change here. But anyway, yep, we had a little bit of rain here earlier in the week. Not much, but a little bit. And what was it, Tuesday, I think, I was working in the shop at work and rolled up the roll-up doors. What the heck? It wasn't rain, but boy, it was a heavy mist, and I didn't expect that. Then it cleared up and got real humid, and then the rest of the day was nice. But weather's a changing. So over to Steve, W6SSP, W6MQI.
Okay, Dave, thank you very much. Hey, the TCK sounds fantastic up here in Santa Rosa. As with everybody else, quite a bit of QSB this morning, and a lot of static crashes. I don't know if everybody else is hearing that, but quite a bit of atmospheric noise and occasional static crashes. I'm not sure where that's coming from, but strong here. Anywho, this is Steve in Santa Rosa, just north of Santa Rosa, running the classic Collins 75A1 and 32V1 into a dipole about 30 feet off, D104 microphone, the usual boring setup. That's how it goes. Anyway, we had about 0.2 of an inch of rain yesterday, which is really nice. I'm hoping quite a bit more rain fell north, put out those fires up near Oregon border. Maybe Bob can fill us in on that a little bit later. And anyway, it's a nice morning, kind of overcast here, but I think the sun will come out later. And over to Rich, AE6TK, W6SSP.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. W6SSP, KE6QK. Well, I don't know, I might get thrown out of this net eventually. I go through military history. I operated all the equipment basically in the 60s that you guys are using. And it's really exciting to hear that stuff again after that many years. I'm still running the DX100B up on its side. I'm still waiting for it to blow up, but it doesn't seem to want to blow up. It's actually running very well. My carrier frequency on the digital, modern digital, 3974.71. That's what I'm reading on the digital. And I guess I can't get too much closer in frequency. Chuck, yeah, I mentioned I was using that equipment. I used to be a Navy Mars coordinator when I was in the Maryland, D.C. area. And I was a real active petty officer at the time, ham radio operator, Navy communications guy. I got my hands on about a dozen R390As, you know, from surplus. And I issued all of them out to all my people that were in Navy Mars. And I never kept one. I was active duty. I knew I was going to get transferred all over the world. And I kick myself now, having given away 5 of those suckers. And I don't have one. But I used that for a long, long time. And also the 618T. I use that quite a bit also. Anyway, it's exciting to hear you guys. If you still let me in the DX100 here. And I am receiving on the modern 7300 ICOM right now. It's all jury rigged, kind of like some of you guys. It's not fixed. I have to get the big young man next door to get this DX100B into a case. I can't lift it. Anyway, it's fun to be here. And before I turn it over, everybody's about a 6 to a 9. Very fast QSB. I haven't seen this in a long time. It's just going from 6 to 9 to 6 to 9, up and down really quickly, really moving around. Anyway, I'm excited to be here. I'll pass it to YBS. That is Henry, WA7 YBS, and the group KE6QK. Pick it up.
Okay, well, let's see, we got to do a little bit of tweaking and peeking here, and we can kind of talk and do this at the same time, and that looks about as good as we're going to get for right now. Okay, yeah, the wetness changes the antenna capacitance to ground probably, detunes it slightly, so anyway, we can adjust that out, no problem. Morning to all. Good signals from everybody in that I can copy everybody. And there is QSB. Might be an indication that Chuck and I were talking about changing the time. We'll have to see how conditions hold up here in the next 45 minutes or so. And, you know, last week was pretty good early and not so good later. But, you know, might be the reverse this time. So anyway, let's see. Okay, Bob, on the ART-13 roundup. Yes, last Sunday in October. I think that's the 27th, I think. And anyway, it'll be the last Sunday in October. And so check in with your ART-13s on that day. I will be. I have to get one of the 4 up and running, and I might have to do it out in the shop. So anyway, the object of the roundup is just a chicken with as many ART-13s as you can. If it's only one, that's fine. If it's none, that's fine too. But we're going to try to get as many ART-13s on as we can. And so that's the object. It's just, it's just an informal little agreement that we'll try to run as many ART-13s as we can. And of course, the end result is the infamous QSL card that will be a black and white rendition this time. So no color. So that's the deal on the ART-13 roundup. We are running the 32V3 Collins transmitter. And it looks like we're probably doing 110 watts or so of carrier power. And the receiver is the Raycal RA17L. It was sick last time I tried to run this, but it had a bad RF amplifier tube. Actually had a short. You never know if it's really a hard short or if it's just like a lot of leakage. But at any rate, it really skewed the RF coming into the old Raycal. I could hear you guys, but not very well. We're back up to everybody running 120 microamps now on the carrier level meter, which is good. That's a good strong signal. So anyway, the Raycal is happy, and we're using the linear array for the antenna, so hopefully that helps. And that's 2 half waves in phase. Let's see how it's going down there in life in the wild, wild west with Bill, N6BCT to take it, WA7YBS.
Still listen sometimes, but not all the time. And he has problems with his computer because he's not a computer person. So it's up to 30 DW2 and 6 Bravo Tango.
Okay, Bill. Very good. You sounded pretty good that time. There was some QSB on you, but I was able to copy it, and I'm glad John can listen. John, if you're listening, hey man, we really miss you, and we wish you the very best of everything. And hope you're listening this morning, because we haven't forgot you there, my friend. So. Bill, thanks for letting us know that. I didn't realize John could do that, but that's a nice piece of information to know. So anyway, you're coming in pretty good. And Henry, I was just checking. I've got this desk calendar here on my desk. The last Sunday of October is the 29th. So it's October the 29th is the ART-13 roundup, and it looks like I'm net control. So. I've got a couple. I'll be running this current station, courtesy of W4DBQ, and I'll get on my ART-13 with the DY11 Navy dynamotor, and run that as well. I'll probably run that one time, and then I'll come back to the Carla's regular station. So anyway, let's see here. Bob, there was no problem hearing you. A little bit of QSB. Mike, the 618 sounds incredible. Absolutely no problems there. Dave, the same thing. The TCK sounds wonderful. A little bit of QSB, but nothing bad. Steve, no problem. 32V1. A little bit of QSB, but not bad. Rich, the DX100 sounds really good. Hey, we've got a DX100. I bought my DX100 from Henry about 18 years ago, and I still have it. That's a good transmitter. And Carla inherited it, my wife Carla, and she's got it in her room with her HRO 60 that she hasn't run it in a while, but it runs, and it runs very well. So that is a great transmitter. Henry, you're pegging the S meter. And Bill, you're coming in fine too on your 25 watts. So so far so good. Mike, I know what you mean about, like you said, you may have picked the wrong transceiver this morning. But you know what I did? This morning I turned the R390A off, and I put on the R45 ARR7, and luckily I did that before we started doing check-in, so I quick switched that back out because that was a disaster from the onset. So I went right back to the 390A. So I understand what you're saying there. So anyway, let's see. Is there anyone else that wants to get in on the tail end of the first round of B number 8? Come now.
W7 MKA.
I'm sorry, what was that? It was W7 and what?
That's Robert, W7MKA.
Oh, okay, Henry, that's Robert. Okay, W7MKA. Okay, Robert, I got you in your number 8 spot. Stand by. If there's anyone else that wants to check in to be number 9, come now.
W4DVQ.
Okay, there's Paula popped in at W4DBQ in the number 9 spot. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to check in and be number 10? Come now. Okay, nothing heard. So, okay, Robert, I've got you in the number 8 spot and Carla in the 9 spot. So, Bill, N6BCT, you'll hand it to Robert, W7MKA. Robert will hand it to Carla, W4DBQ, and Carla will turn it back to me, K0DWC. So, Robert, go ahead and make a transmission and take it away, W7MKA, K0DWC.
All right, K0DWC and the group W7MKA. I'll keep it fairly short. Conditions up here are pretty rough. I don't know if they'll improve any or not. But we're running a GRC 46. Well, the GRC 19 portion of it. I didn't hear the earlier stations at W7MS. I think I got an excellent signal here. Everyone else was a little rough, but not too much new radio-wise. It's been quite a while since I checked in, but just been busy with work, so I haven't done any fun stuff in that time. But back to Carla, W4DBQ to take it, W7MKA.
Okay, W7MKA, this is W4 Delta Victor Quebec. Well, good morning to all. I wanted to pop in here. I'll hang out for a while on a few rounds. but I just wanted to say good morning to everybody. And to Rich with the DX100, yeah, I really like mine. And I ended up with a spare, actually, for parts. So if you ever need anything, let me know. I have a lot of DX100 accessories. But anyhow, I wanted to also say, if W6MIT's listening, I want to say good morning to John. If you can hear me, I miss telling you my critter stories. But I miss you a lot, and glad you're listening. So I'm going to make it short. Need to get a cup of coffee. I just got out of bed. And so I'll hand it back up to Net Control. K0DWC to take it. This is Whiskey Ford, Delta Victor, Quebec.
Okay, Carla, W4DBQ, K0DWC. All right, let me make one last call out for a 10th check-in if there's anybody there. I haven't heard OPE yet. Maybe he's there, maybe he's not, I don't know. But if you'd like to be number 10, come now. Okay, nothing heard. Well, all right, we will go ahead and start the second round here and proceed and go back up to Bob, W6AQU in the group. This is K0DWC. Go ahead, Bob.
Go ahead, thanks, Chuck. This is W6 Able Queen Uncle, Money Gill. Good morning again, all the way around, and Carla, good to hear you in there again. Grants Pass. Robert, doing a pretty good job over here this morning. And I have a question for you. Is Bill Cooper, KF6AR, do you talk to him around anymore? I have not heard him in a long, long time. And BCT, I was able to copy Bill pretty good here this morning. So it's a little cool here, but it's clear skies now. We're running on auxiliary power due to a malfunction in the power company up near Hornbrook, California, but 16 miles to the west. So I got gasoline in the generator, and I don't know if I can hold out till 10 o'clock or not, but that's what they're telling us. So that's about the rundown for now. Over there to Reno. W7MS. W6 Able Queen Uncle.
Well, thank you, Bob. W6AQU, W7MS. Mike in Reno. Well, good morning to the new joiner uppers. Nice to hear you, Robert, from Grants Pass. And I'm going to turn a quick back to you if you want to respond to Bob's question on that individual. So over to you, Robert, for a quick response for Bob, W7MS.
Yeah, Bob, good to hear you on an excellent signal here, as to be expected. But yeah, Bill still gets in on the 3877 group every once in a while. He's been pretty busy with Arlene. I think it's just wanted to be, she'd fallen, but still wanted to be more independent around the house, so he's pretty busy taking care of her. And, you know, with doctor's appointments and everything, but he still does get in there from time to time. Over.
Well, thanks, Robert, for your comments. W7MKA, W7MS, I'm sure Bob copied that just fine. But good reception, and of course, a hearty good morning to Carla. Nice to hear you.
Thanks, Chuck.
And what else is going on here? Rich, great to hear the 100B. And I guess if you're feeling a little self-conscious there, just stick a Mars sticker on the front of it, and you'll be super official there. And I think I can't really blame you for passing on all those R390s and R390As when you just think of the width, the girth, and the weight. It's probably was quite easy to pass them on to appreciative users there in the Mars network. So projects here, took care of the L7 purchase from Lincoln. I won't get into detail, but that turned out okay, but got a little bit more involved than I had expected, but a happy ending and a happy purchase. Now I just have to unload the linear amplifier that the L7 replaced, and that may be next swap meet season. But between the 40-meter swap net and Craigslist, who knows? There may be somebody out there shopping for a linear amplifier. Projects here, continuing on with the GP7 and the 400 hertz power supply. And that's been interesting since the 8010 microcontroller, courtesy of our friends in the People's Republic of China. There's app notes, there's data sheets, but I have found no one out there that's actually applied that microcontroller to a 400 hertz single phase inverter. Usually there's going to be a brag video on YouTube, folks on the interweb, and I found virtually nothing. So I've strictly been working from the app notes and in my own, no desire to brick the microcontroller. 32 leads, surface mount, and a 3/8" square, but I have managed to make a few option changes and improve the harmonic distortion in the change the dead zone going to the MOSFET. So it's doing okay, and I have yet to brick it, but I'm really not done on my voyage there in 400 hertz inverter land, but that's the story here. So now that everybody's fallen asleep, over to Dave, W6MQI, W7MS.
And W7MS, W6MQI. I'm still here. I'm still here. So good morning to Robert and Carla. Signal in here. Robert, you were got some QSD. I missed what what kind of radio you were running there. GRC something. I thought I heard a 6 in there, but I wasn't for sure. But good morning to you guys. And 5 business Mike on all the projects. Yeah, a couple things going on here project-wise. That LM386 amplifier I put in the my speaker for my C515. I pulled that thing out. Man, after a while listening to that, you're jumping. I pulled it out. It sounded really bad. I guess when I originally put it in there, I don't know. Maybe I had too many beers or something. At the time, but no, I pulled it out. We'll revisit that. Right now I'm using a audio amplifier and a time wave DSP unit where I amplify the speaker, and it works really well that way. So I gotta come up with a better audio amplifier. To boost the audio of the GRC515. And my N3ZI DDS that I use on some of my little homebrew W rig. Quit working. I don't know why. And I have no way of programming the chip on that, so I gotta go to plan B and come up with another DDS to use for my little W rig. Other than that, not much else going on here. Looking forward to that ART-13 shootout. I have some QSL QSL cards. Yeah, I haven't QSL'd anybody in years. Got a big old stack of cards here that you ever send out. Just like logging. I don't even log anymore. I haven't logged a QSL in years as well. Pure laziness on my side, I guess. Looks like I'm going to miss the Typicon swap meet that's coming up. I kind of wanted to sell some stuff. I'm going to be on travel all weekend, unfortunately. So I'm going to miss that. I think that's the last of swap meets, I believe, around here anyway. With that, I will send it over to who's next? Steve. That's Steve. That's
Okay, Dave. Thank you very much. And you're the top man today, as always. We're always staying here, channel. And good morning to Robert and Carla. Good to hear you back there. Yeah, conditions are deteriorating a little bit, as they often do this time of day, but that's how it goes. Anyway, good to hear about progress, everybody's projects and stuff that's going on. A number of things going on here. Still fooling around with stuff that I picked up with Lincoln. Did really well, Lincoln, this year. Got a lot of neat winter projects. And the main one, the one I was most excited about, is the Johnson Ranger. Didn't really need it, but hey, I really like them. So anyway, it's done. I didn't make any contacts with it. I like to make contacts with stuff after I put it up, but didn't get a chance to do that with this one. So it's sitting on the floor about 6 feet away in front of an Atari Tempest arcade video game, if any of you remember those. Yeah, I'm in the game room, so maybe one of these days it'll make it up in the operating position. I'll make some contacts, hopefully lower this winter. When conditions improve. Other project this week has been a Mitsu MT200 Henry Temporary Run. Not the best example of HX saver, but it was cheap and it's kind of fun to work on these things. So I'm fighting an audio problem. I've got all kinds of signal at the sideband detector. That's really jumping all over the place on signaling. Very, very weak audio. And as is often the case, and the synchro circuits are the hardest ones to troubleshoot, and that's what's going on with this one. I just can't figure out what's going on with it. I'm down to maybe the output transform has an internal short. I've been back on the audio. I'll try that later. So, funny games. A few more projects in the wings, but I won't talk about those yet. I'll save those for another day. So, Rich, Force 100 sounds very, very good. As does everybody else, by the way, this morning, except for the QSP on the fading condition. I have an early version of the DX 100 with the case. I don't know what other changes were made between the original and the build, but I don't think it really that much. Really nice, underrated transmitters, in my opinion. I'll come across, or any of those I come across for a good price, I'll pick them up. Easy to restore too. So, I also think I'm going to say 73, we'll pull a few things in the yard and see what I want to do. Old Rich, 86, TK, W6 SSP.
Well, thank you, Steve. Thank you very much. Go have that damn QSP. After this session, you guys have given me my drinking orders. Okay. This is what I plan to do, okay? The next station to come up, I might have mentioned this last week, or I rebuilt a Globe Scout here. It's amazing. It's almost ready to go. I didn't have anything to drive it. I don't have any crystals left. So I went on eBay and bought a VF1 that's all cut up and in really rotten shape. It's on the bench here. What I'm going to do is get into that in the next few weeks and see if I can get an oscillator to drive this Globe Scout. Then I want to come up here on the net and surprise you with a Globe Scout Deluxe running 70 watts. See how that works. That will be the next program. I'm really jealous about the military equipment. I'm going to keep my eye open. I have about 5 Camerlin HQ-110As. I started restoring them a couple years ago, and I met my maker with my good eyesight at my age. The big problem with the 110As or any of the Hammerland equipment is the IF transformers. They put a mica, the LC circuit is a mica capacitor at the bottom of the transformer and then the coil on the top. Well, if you have really good eyesight and good dexterity, you have to take that out of the receiver, take the IF transformer completely apart, try to see that hair-sized copper wire, and resolder all that. And I was very unsuccessful the first couple of times. I only have one HQ-110A that actually works. The rest are waiting for me to destroy, trying to, do the transformers. But that is a project I could bring up, a 110A and Globe Scout. And then hopefully in the future, maybe at a swap, I can get an ART-13. That'd be fun to restore. I have a big ham shack in the backyard. I have a California kilowatt back there. I could come up with that some net time and surprise you running a full KW. And I'm the type of guy, I don't run the full KW unless I really need it, actually. I'm not a power king, but I do have it on a log periodic back there, usually on 20 meters. And thank you, Carla, for the offer. My restoration went well, except for the final coil, the loading coil. All that plastic from the 50s kind of, it heated up and it got very brittle. It started falling apart. And I'm also a car restorer here. I used car RTV on the coil before it fell apart, and it actually kept the distance of the coil rounds in the proper place. It doesn't look very good, but the coil is working just fine with automotive parts on it. And yeah, other than that, I don't need anything right now for the DX100. It's usually working fine. We'll get it in the case. I wanted to pass along our Fallon radio club here, ARCC, tonight at 7 o'clock. If you go on, anyone has Echolink, look up KE6QK-Lima-L. You come on with your cell phone or PC when visitors are called at 7 o'clock on Sunday and say hello to us. You'll be on the 441875 repeater, which is in my commercial site in Lyon County. And we're glad to have you on. Just say hello or whatnot. I wanted to pass that along. It's not a real high repeater. It's only 5,000 feet at Lake Lahontan, but it serves Silver Springs and Fallon really well. Anyway, thank you for the good round table. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Henry and listen for the rest of the net. Thank you very much. WA7YABS KE6UK.
Okay. And let me check a few little adjustments here. And yeah, this very wet ground is definitely changing the antenna. Okay, that ought to be just fabulous. Okay, on ART-13s, bear in mind, any ART-13 that you find needs to have power. And of course, originally in the airplane they had a dynamotor. And but the dynamotor takes about 30 amps at least to spin, and so you got to have some sort of high current power supply to spin the dynamotor to power the ART-13, or you can build an AC power supply. to do the job. The only thing that's difficult on the power supply is not really difficult, but it is the 24 volts at least 10 amps. And that 10 amps is only so that you have enough current. Actually, 12 is better, is so you have enough current to run the auto-tune motor. And it takes about 8 amps just to run the tubes and all that other stuff. But anyway, ART-13s, yes, they're very easy to work on, very easy to get up and running. They're an excellent, excellent transmitter. And, but the caveat is they do require some way of powering them up. So that's that. I wanted to let, one clarification on the ART-13 Roundup. You don't have to send a QSL card back to us. We're just going to send you a QSL card for participating. And it'll have all of the, not by call, but how many ART-13s were on, that sort of stuff. It's just a little something, a little reminder. And Chuck and I did this, I don't know, it was 2014 or 2013, somewhere around there anyway. And we did it for the ART-13. We did 2 of them for the ART-13, and we did one for the BC-191, BC-375 shootout. And then we did one that was the Behemoth Military Radio Trials, where you checked in with the heaviest transmitter that you had. So we're getting back into doing that again. But so the first one up is going to be the ART-13 Roundup, October 29th. And let's see what else. I know that maybe a few of you remember that I've been mentioning Toby Deutschman for the last few weeks. And the web article is now up on the website. And so if you want to know everything there is to know about Toby Deutschman and Glenn Browning and the receivers, there's not very many. They only made them for 2 years, 1935 and 1936. And kits, all of the things. 39 photographs. 39 photographs in this web article. So if you don't like to read, there are lots of pictures to keep you entertained. Anyway, it's on the website now, so you can see what the Toby Deutschman special and the amateur radio communication receivers, what they looked like and everything. So just go to the radioboulevard.com. The link will be right on the home page to go to the Toby Browning ham receivers. So that was the plug for that. So let's send it over to Bill. N6BCT WA7 YBS. Go ahead, Bill. Robert, W7MKA, Bill turned it over to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, N6BCT and the group W7MKA. tough copy on Bill there. I could kind of tell that somebody was there in the background, but it's usually just have a bad pass between us, Half Moon Bay, I think it is. Well, thanks, Henry, on the info on the ART-13 roundup. I was just thinking of that recently. I was up at Summerfest with KA7 NGT at his place and saw the QSL card from the last one, as well as the 191. And yeah, if you do the 191 one again, I thought that'd maybe give me some inspiration to get mine up and going. I've had it for quite a while. I never had it on the air. I got the dynamotor and everything, and I even built a box, you know, like the SCR 193 setup there. So maybe that'd give me some inspiration to get all that there. Somebody asked what rig this is. It's at least the GRC 19 portion of a GRC 46. We do have the teletype converters and the printers right here in front of me too. It's been a while since that's been warmed up. It's down to power. W4 DBQ to take it. W7 MKA.
Okay, W7 MKA. This is Whiskey 4 Delta Victor Quebec. Well, yeah, you know, y'all, you got me going now. I need to get in my little separate ham shack, the she shack, and I need to dust off some equipment. Now that it's getting close to winter and everything, I have a TS520 Kenwood transceiver that I had acquired from Bob, AQU, and I need to get it back up and going, and well, Chuck kind of commandeered my amplifier, so we gotta talk about that. And I wouldn't mind chasing DX again this winter. I haven't done it in a while. I've got a goal of trying to get all the states to get that certificate, and I don't have many to go. And also I need to get out that BC 375 and spruce her up a little and all that stuff. So I'll be starting new hours. I'll be working 4/10s, and it's going to be Wednesday through Saturday. And then I'm off for 3, so that's going to be perfect for this winter to do one day in the radio projects and stuff, you know, and chasing DX. So, enough of my blither blather. And thanks for letting me in here this morning, guys. I'm anxious to get started with new projects this winter. And Rich, just like I say, just holler at us on the net if you need me to look for anything. I even have knobs. I have a knob box, so whatever. If I have it, you know, you're more than welcome. So good luck with that. Sounds like you got it under control. So guys, I'm gonna say my 73s and get in here and start banging around some pots and pans. It's one of them mornings where you wouldn't mind having some bacon, eggs, and toast, and coffee, and all that good stuff. But 73 guys, and I'm going to hand it back up to net control, K0DWC. This is Whiskey 4 Delta Victor Quebec, pulling the plug. See you guys.
Okay, Carl. W4DBQ, gentlemen. All right. Well, let's see if there's any stragglers. See if there's a number, technically a number 10 out there. If you'd like to check in, Vintage Military Radio Net at the end of this second round. Come now. Okay, nothing heard. So let's see. Carl is signed, and I believe Steve and Rich did sign. So I'll stay my 7-3s to them. I think they did. If they didn't, I apologize. But Steve, Rich, and Carla is who I have down for signing. So we'll go ahead and we'll start the 7-3 round and go back up to the top to Bob, W6AQU in the group, K0DWC.
Very good, thanks, Chuck. W6 Able Queen Uncle. Well, our generator's still running. That's a good thing. I think we're getting close to the bottom of the tank, though. We had a power failure here a couple weeks ago. It was all day long. And it happened twice to it this year. Well, the gas tank's probably getting pretty low. Well, Carla, I remember that. But it was at a swap meet someplace. Ralph's Brad's. I brought that little Kenwood transceiver over there. And you just picked that up all by yourself and carried it over and put it in that little red truck. I can't remember how many years ago that was. Well, that's going to be a lot of fun there on this Roundup, Henry. And I don't know. I have another one that I'm going to put on in another week or so to check that out. It's dynamotor operated. And I've got that big 50 amp supply or whatever it is that will crank that over. And the cables, and it's all sitting out there ready for me to hook up again. So that's at least 2 that I could get up and running. We have more in the storage shed. But that may be more of a effort to do in the winter. I don't know for sure. Let's see, any other comments? VXY is not present this morning for some reason. And Jerry, LPE. What if these guys are still sleeping in? And Rich, I've got a couple of DX100s you'd be more than welcome to. They're pickup only in Montague. So we do not use them anymore. We're not planning to use them anymore. I don't think we're going to move them anymore. And I think we have a full new set of iron for those. Some way I acquired that. Well, anyhow. Looking over my list here. Guess there's no other comments to be made. So we'll say R73's from Montague. Look for everybody next week. W7MS. This is W6 Able Queen Uncle.
Well, thank you, Bob. W6AQU, W7MS. Still, I think actually overall conditions have improved. So go figure, Henry, on trying to calculate time changes for the net. But everybody's doing quite well. W7MS, Mike and Reno. And a few comments here. I'll start with Bob. And find on the DX100 cache, and I was chuckling over the pickup only in Montague because there's one of your neighbors there in the area is constantly listing a grab bag of goodies in Montague, and it's pickup only. And I don't know how many weeks since I'm an infrequent listener to the 40-meter swap net over the weekend, but he's always there pitching the same items, but pickup only in Montague. So I got a good chuckle out of that because that's a big ask for most of us folks who are south of you. But great to hear that. your ART-13s. Henry had expanded on that. Rich's comments on a future ART-13 project that he may fall into. And that brings to mind, I only have one operational. Maybe Steve, SSP, will have his going by then. But I do have two piles out in the back garage for two future projects, and one of them will either be an ATC-1 restoration or an ATC restoration. I haven't figured, but it hasn't been a major electromagnetic attraction. There's always something else more bright and shiny in my future, but that's certainly on my list to do's, because that'll also free up some of the stuff I'm holding back on where they can be disseminated to people that actually need it. But right now I've got my restoration hoard that's out there, because it's you pick the best of the best and put something together, and we're not at that point yet. And maybe this winter, maybe that fancy QSL card that will arrive from Chuck and Henry will get me motivated to amp up for the next shootout, ART-13 shootout. But and good on Carla's plans. She's got some ambitious plans aside from breakfast preparation, which is pretty ambitious also, Chuck. But real glad to hear that she's getting on her 410. She's going to have some time, and winter is coming. And on that subject, I fired up my pellet stove, which I'm extremely premature, but I figured what the heck. And that offered a reminder to me how I need to replace the room blower motor, since it has noisy bearings. So we'll have a few weeks of continued seasonable weather, which will be relatively warm days, cool nights, so I can get into it at my leisure rather than an shucks, I'm freezing my hiney off, I have to replace this motor. I'm not happy. So that's the setup here. We'll say 73. It's been a good net. And note to Henry, my neighbor to the due south, his first name is Toby. So I don't know about last name Deutschman though. That might be a major coincidence. But over to you, Dave. W6MQI, W7MS.
The mic cord. Almost pulled the mic out of my hand. Alrighty. Well, not much else to say here. Conditions are fading, although Bob has come up, so I guess conditions are more favorable between him and I now than before. But anyway, 73 everybody, and we'll see you next time. Let's see, things have changed here, so it's over to Henry, W87YBS, W6MQI.
Wow, what happened here? There we go. Yeah, needed to do a little bit of tweaking on the antenna. There, this wet weather is raising havoc with it. Anyway, very good on all. I think the QSL cards for the ART-13 Roundup will be probably the same artwork as before, so there's some similarity in looking at them. And but they'll be, instead of on white cardstock, we'll be using colored cardstock. So there will be a difference. I'm limited because I used to have a color printer, and I know they're cheap and everything, but after years and years of using inkjets, I'm tired of them. And of course, the printer that I use now is LaserJet, but it's black and white. So anyway, that's the limitations. And with that, we'll go ahead and say 73. And yeah, if that neighbor, his last name is Deutschman, Mike, you never know, he might look like Jimmy Durante. You have to read the article on the website in the 1942 Time. See, I couldn't find a picture anywhere. I couldn't find a photograph of Toby Deutschman anywhere. And, you know, we're talking about a guy, you know, the company his heyday was during World War II, mainly in the 30s and 40s and 50s. And so never took a picture of himself, I guess. And so at any rate, there's an article in Time magazine in June, 22nd, 1942, called Toby Gets Terrific. And it's all about Toby Deutschmann automobile filters for the World War II, the filters for the ignition noise, and how Toby made $5 million in 1942 with these filters and the war contracts. And anyway, of course, they didn't put a picture of Toby in the article. The writer says that he looks like a smaller version of Jimmy Durante. So there you go. Make your own conclusions. We'll say 73, and we'll turn it over to Bill, N6BCT, WA7YBS.
Contact.
Rich, stand by for just 1 minute. Let me get Robert in there, and then you can come back in after Robert. W7MKA, go ahead and take it. This is K0DWC. W7MKA, are you on frequency? Okay, I don't hear anything. Does anybody hear Robert? Okay, Rich, KE6QK, did you make a call back? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still here. I had a question for Steve or anyone. The ART-13, if you don't have it set up with a dynamotor, what are the power requirements for an outboard power supply? I have a linear amplifier I built when I was a teenager. I'm a pack rat. And power supply in there. I was wondering the power requirements for an ART-13 that doesn't use a dynamotor was my question for Steve or anybody. Over.
I'll go ahead and take that. Let me make sure I'm not doubling. Okay. Okay. ART-13 requirements are 28 volts. That runs the filaments, the relays, the auto-tune motor. You need at least 10 amps, good solid 10 amps, if you're going to spin that auto-tune motor. 12 amps on that supply is better. And of course, being a typical motor, it's going to draw a little bit more than that. So that's why you need the 12 amps or so to get the 28 volts. You need 400 volts at around 200 milliamps or so. That's really overkill. You probably really don't need that much. But 400 volts runs most of the plates on the lower voltage stuff. And then you need a little over 1,000, about 1,050 volts at about 250 milliamps, and that's for the high voltage. And so those are the requirements for a AC operated power supply, those three voltages. If you run a dynamotor, then of course you just need 28 volts, but because of the starting current, of the dynamotor, you need to have quite a bit of reserve. And, that instantaneous starting current just eliminates using anything with any power supply with current fold back or anything like that. They see a dynamotor as a short circuit and shut down. So you need to have a linear supply that's capable of about 40 amps or so. And it has to be able to take that initial surge current on the dynamotor is probably getting up there close to 100 amps, but it's only for a few microseconds, just until the motor starts to spin and then the current drops off. So anyway, go to my website, radioboulevard.com, go to ART13, you'll see it on there. Everything you want to know about ART13s is on the website, radioboulevard.com. So that should answer all your questions on ART13s. A lot of stuff on restoration, a lot of stuff on what you need, the whole section on power supplies, different types, different approaches. So that should answer all the information there. KE6QKWA7YBS.
Okay, WA6YBS, KE6QK. I'll do that. I'll get on there. I guess the dynamotor would be the best way to go. I have an excess Astron 30 amp DC power supply that I use with my microwave. I don't know if that's big enough to run one of them. It's a big guy, really big guy, but 100 amp surge. I don't know if it's handle that. Anyway, I'll let everyone go. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week. And my kids are here. I have to go inside, and they're up from Auburn. I have to go up and have breakfast with them, and we'll talk to you next week. KE6QK clear. I don't know who it goes to. Go back to net control. K0DWC and the group KE6QK. Thank you, guys.
Okay, Rich. KE6QK. Henry, thanks for taking that question. If I'm not mistaken, I still think Henry has some schematics for a power supply or two on the website. I think one of them is for the brute power supply, and I think you've got one or two for yours too, Henry, if I'm not mistaken. But a virtual wealth of information. Excellent website. Excellent. So, good deal there. All right. Henry, I was looking, the ART13 roundups, the QSL cards that I have, I've got one for April 21st of 2013, which I believe was the first one we did, and then April 20th, 2014 for one. And those are the only two that I bought, so I'm just taking for granted it's been that long since we've done a shootout. So anyway, that's what it shows on the QSL cards with the little stars. So okay. All right, guys. Well, very good net this morning. Thank you all so much for being there. We definitely appreciate the support. Without you guys, we don't have a net. So we're appreciative that you're there, and hope you guys have a good day and a good week ahead. So with that, I will secure the Vintage Military Radio Net for today, and I'd like to thank everybody again for their participation, and invite everybody back next Sunday morning. That will turn the frequency back over to regular amateur use. This is K0DWC. I'm signing. 7-3s, guys, and take care. 7-3.